Hello, everybody, and welcome to Alto All The Things. I am the Phantom Flutist. Now, this YouTube channel is going to be based on my favorite instrument, the alto. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I get so many questions about my alto flute, and it doesn't seem the internet provides enough information, so I want to break down all the information of altos into small little chunks. And today we're going to talk about the history and the key system of my alto flute because it is quite unique. And let's get started. Let's talk about what is an alto. This is a normal C flute. And this is an alto flute. Now, if I could, if you can see, the C flute is much smaller than the alto flute. Even in diameter. Alto is a little bit bigger than the C flute. Now, what makes my alto so special? If you look carefully, this is a standard Gemeinhardt. The key system, it's a standard Bohemian key system. Mine is a Kingma System. I'm going to try and show all the different keys. As you can tell, there's even key on key, for example. There's different levers, but see how some of them have different key on keys? Like, the reason why some of them have key on keys is to have access to quarter tones. But before I go into all that, let's start with the beginning. As I mentioned earlier, the father of modern flute is Theobald Boehm. Hopefully I pronounced it right. And I'm sorry if I didn't. I have the unique ability to mispronounce everything in every language. And this is the standard key system that he worked on. Why is that important? Well, he had a rival at the time, and he claimed the reason why his rival played better was because he had a better flute than him. So, he went out and designed the modern flute, and what he wanted it to be is when different people play on the flute, the only reason why one would sound better than the other is because of skill level, not based on whether or not you had a good flute or not. So he wanted things to be a quote-unquote skill issue, not a mechanical issue. He wanted the flute to be standardized, and for the most part, I think he did a pretty good job. Now, he also, he didn't invent the alto, but he improved the alto. The oldest alto dates back to 1528. So these instruments are not exactly new. Now, in the Renaissance, there was many different types of flute. For example, B flat, A flat, G, F, E flat, and C flutes. But a lot of them disappeared in the 17th century just because, well, there wasn't music for them and they didn't stick around because they weren't that popular. Now, the popular flutes that stuck around was the C flute, the piccolo, and the alto flute. Now, that being said, Theobald Boehm loved the alto flute. He said his biggest disappointment was it didn't become very popular. People know about the alto flute, but it just wasn't as popular as his C flute. And I agree, it's kind of a shame that the alto isn't well known. And there's many different reasons for that. One of them was there's not a lot of music for it. I believe nowadays there's more music for it and people are recognizing it a lot more because of social media. And to kind of prove that point is several years ago when I was taking lessons, in my recital, I played the alto flute. Mind you, most of these people that were attending this student recital also played flute themselves. And when I played my alto flute, a lot of the people came up to me and asked, "What is it that you were playing on your bigger flute?" And I go, "Oh, it's the alto flute." I was kind of puzzled that these group of people didn't know what the alto was because they were flute players. Now, as I've aged and performed more, there's more and more people beginning to go, "Oh, that's so cool, you play an alto flute. What's the funny key system that you play on? I've never seen one with, key on key or even a spare A flat thingy," as they call it. And I go, "Oh, that's because I play on a Kingma system. It has key on key. I'll show you again. I'll try and show every single detail that I can. The one bad thing about this alto is it's quite big. So, trying to show everything is quite difficult. But as you can see, again, it's open hole. And there's more keys on it. Now, the reason why there's more keys on it is because it plays quarter tones also. Again, that's going to be another video entirely. But to get the basics done, the Alto Kingma system was created in 2014. So this is a very new concept. The alto itself is not, if that makes sense. The key system is a newer invention, you can say. Now, why would I get an alto flute with open holes? I think of it as future-proofing my investment because flutes are expensive. And you don't want to get a flute and then find out you need something else with it. For example, this C-sharp trill key. My first good flute was a Muramatsu. It played beautifully. And I mean that for like a like if you're going to college, I'm sorry, I can't remember what the name of it is. I'm a little slow. Anyways, it didn't have a C-sharp trill key. And at the time, I didn't think anything of it. Well, when it was time for me to upgrade to my, what I have now for C flute was a Levitt Kingma System flute. It took longer to sell because a lot of people wanted the C-sharp trill key. So I thought, well, if I'm going to spend a lot of money on a new instrument, I might as well future-proof my investment. And the way I see it is composers enjoy pushing the instrument to its very limit. Much to sometimes the musician's dismay, because it's quite difficult. And if I'm going to invest in my instrument, I want to make sure that my instrument will last me many, many years to come. And that's one reason why I picked a Kingma System. And two, I enjoy playing sacred music, sacred ancient music, which sometimes employs quarter tones, half tones, techniques that aren't really used that much in Western music. And this can handle it with ease. For example, it can do slides, you know. The fact that I can do slides and pitch bends much easier just because it's open hole gives me so much more advantage than, let's say, a closed alto flute where it doesn't have open hole. Therefore, it limits me with my ability to play. And there's some pieces like Ian Clarke's Spiral Lamont where it employs, you know, pitch bends where you kind of slowly move your fingers off the key, where instead of doing just go from G to A. There's some things where you kind of just slide your finger off. Well, if you didn't have open hole, you couldn't do that. And I'm the type that I enjoy doing things on my alto flute that most people would be like, nah, you can't do that. I'm like, why not? I believe an alto flute can be a solo instrument. And I guess in some ways, that's why I kind of created this channel. Because I see people look at the alto flute as an afterthought. Like, it's like one of the low tones and that's it. It can play beautifully. It can play slow, but that's kind of it. And I kind of want to change that. And for those who want to have fun with their alto flute and employ different techniques, I'm here for you. And we will learn it together. That will be our journey, if you're willing to stick around with me. So, I hope I didn't blab on too much, but I just wanted to show you this is my alto flute and this is my main instrument. I know a lot of people who are flute players who goes, oh, I'm a flutist, and some even goes, oh, I'm a piccolo player. And I want to go, you know what? I like to see flute, but honestly, I'm an altist player. And we also like to have fun. So, I hope the alto and the low flutes will start getting their time to shine also. So, I hope that answers some of your questions about my alto flute. That it's an alto flute. It's in the key of G. It plays a perfect fourth lower than the C flute. And it has a Kingma system. It's, again, open hole. And it can play quarter tones. And as I do more videos, I will teach different techniques like how to sing and play, even how to do alternate fingerings. Again, I'm not a professional, so I'm learning as I'm teaching too. So we can learn together and have fun. I hope all of you have a wonderful day or night. And I hope I can give you guys wonderful advice on playing the alto. Because the biggest thing I see is there's tons and tons of videos on how to play flute and how to play better on the C flute. But it's kind of like crickets for the lower flutes. And at the moment I don't have a bass flute, unfortunately, but I do have an alto, and let's see if we can fix that. Let's add more repertoire and more tips and advice just for altos and alto players. Again, have a great day. Be blessed. See you next time.